Let's just start with a question. What if the places we hold most secret, the birthplaces of our gods, the sites of our most profound spiritual experiences, what if they weren't chosen by chance or by faith? What if they were calculated, placed there with mathematical precision? Take a look at this. This is the Earth, and that glowing line is right around 27 degrees north latitude. Now, what's so special about that line? Well, along this one invisible thread on our planet, we find the birthplace of Rama and Krishna and Buddha. It doesn't stop there. The Taj Mahal, our planet's greatest monument to love, is on this line. And so is Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. All of them on the same line. So you have to ask, right? Is this just the most unbelievable string of coincidences in human history? Or is it something else? A message, a map, or maybe a signature left behind for someone to find? All of this forces us to ask some questions that, frankly, we can't afford to ignore anymore. 1. Why? Why do our gods, our heroes, our most secret monuments all line up on these invisible lines across the globe? 2. What is the real connection, the scientific connection, between a deity like Shiva and the most powerful, most violent objects in the entire universe? And 3, and this is the most important one, is it possible that the source code for all of reality is hidden somewhere you'd never think to look, inside your own body? Stay with me, because the answers might just rewrite everything you think you know about your own existence. Look, this isn't some fun conspiracy theory. We're not just connecting dots on a map. What we're talking about here is much, much bigger. We're talking about the possibility of understanding the fundamental operating system of our reality, the source code. There's a really powerful idea that helps frame this whole thing. You have the believer who asks, how do I pray? And there's nothing wrong with that. But then there's the seeker. The seeker asks a different question. The seeker asks, what am I praying to? This journey, this is for the seeker. You know, we're taught from a young age that science and mythology are opposites. Enemies, even. One is fact, the other is fiction. But what if that's completely wrong? What if they're actually two different languages, one using equations and data, the other using stories and symbols, but they're both desperately trying to describe the same massive, indescribable truth about the nature of everything? And those strange lines on the map we started with, the ones connecting Everest and the birthplaces of gods, that's just the front door. That's just the clue that tells you there's a puzzle to be solved. The real secret, the part that changes everything, trust me, we haven't even gotten there yet. So let's start where it all began, with the map. The first layer of this incredible code is literally etched onto the surface of the Earth, and it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Okay, let's look closer at that first line, the one we call the V latitude, for Vishnu, the preserver. Think of it as a line of cosmic order, of stability, of love. Along this line, Rama and Krishna, both avatars of Vishnu, are born. Buddha, too. Then you have the Taj Mahal, the ultimate symbol of love, and Mount Everest, the symbol of the absolute highest point, the supreme. I mean, the mathematical probability of this it's just staggering. It's almost like the principle of preservation itself signed its name on the planet. But preservation is only one half of the cosmic equation, right? For there to be order, there has to be change, transformation, even chaos. And that brings us to the second line, the S latitude, for Shiva. This one, around 31 degrees north, connects Mount Kailash, Shiva's mythical home, with the ancient Harappan civilization, which is where we find the oldest, most mysterious evidence of Shiva worship on Earth. This isn't a line of stability. This is a line of deep time, of endings that spark new beginnings. And this is how it works. Every time you think you've found an answer, it just opens up a much deeper, much more important question. Okay, so we found a map. Two fundamental cosmic principles drawn across the surface of the Earth. But that leads to the biggest question of all. If there's a map, who drew it? Who was the mapmaker? To even begin to answer that, we have to leave the map of Earth behind. We have to look up. We have to look out into the cosmos. And this is where the code goes from being interesting to being absolutely profound. There's this ancient story, right? The gods Brahma and Vishnu are arguing about which of them is the supreme being. And as they argue, this thing appears between them, an infinite pillar of blinding pure light, no beginning, no end. Brahma tries to fly to the top. Vishnu tries to dig to the bottom. They both fail. They can't find its limits. That infinite formless pillar of light, that was Shiva, showing them his true nature. Now, hold that image in your mind, an infinite pillar of light. And now, look at this. On the left, that's a scientific visualization of a quasar. It's a jet of pure energy and light being blasted out of a supermassive black hole at the center of a galaxy. On the right, an artist's depiction of that mythological pillar of light. It's the same thing, an infinite pillar of energy whose ends cannot be found. I mean, are we looking at an ancient myth or an astrophysicist's textbook? This changes everything. It means we have to completely rethink what Shiva even means. He isn't just the destroyer. That's a massive oversimplification. He is the fundamental organizing principle. He's the cosmic gravity that pulls galaxies together. He's the engine that clears away what's old and broken to make space for the new. You know, just like a black hole isn't just a cosmic vacuum cleaner, it's the very engine that shapes and governs entire galaxies. And get this. Modern physics is now starting to theorize that black holes aren't just empty voids. They might be the most efficient information storage devices in the entire universe. Think of them as cosmic hard drives, cosmic quantum computers. And what did the ancient myths call Shiva? Adi Guru, the first teacher, the source of all knowledge. It's almost as if science is just now catching up to a truth that was encoded in a story thousands of years ago. So let's bring that huge cosmic idea all the way back down to Earth for a second. Back to Mount Kailash, sitting right there on Shiva's S-latitude. Doesn't it just seem perfect that this line, Shiva's line, just happens to be the line of latitude that crosses more physical landmass than any other on our entire planet? It's a literal geographic symbol of his dominion over the material world. Okay, now for the final piece of this whole puzzle. It comes from the story of the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the cosmic ocean. The gods are churning for the nectar of immortality. But the first thing that comes out isn't nectar, it's a poison. A lethal poison called halahala, so powerful it threatened to destroy all of creation. And the gods, they panicked. They ran to the only being in the universe who could possibly handle it, Shiva. So let's translate. What could this cosmic poison be in the language of physics? What's the one thing we know of that could literally annihilate all of creation? It's antimatter. According to our best science, the Big Bang should have created equal amounts of matter and antimatter. And if it had, they would have instantly canceled each other out, and nothing. The universe would be an empty void. So why are we here? Because something contained the antimatter. Something consumed the poison. And here it is. The poison, halahala, had another name, Kalakuta. And do you know what that literally translates to? Black mass. Or time puzzle. I mean, come on. What is a black mass where time itself becomes a puzzle? It's a black hole. The story says Shiva consumed the poison, containing the cosmic chaos so that our universe, our existence, could be born. Shiva isn't a destroyer god motivated by anger. He's the ultimate guardian. He is the principle that absorbed the antimatter, the poison, so that matter could exist and flourish. His destruction isn't an act of rage. It's a necessary cosmic reset. You see, when you start looking at it this way, the old boundaries just dissolve. The universe runs on a code, a set of fundamental laws. The ancients looked at that code and gave it a name, gave it a face, gave it a story. They called it God. Today, we look at that same code and we give it a different name. We call it physics, but we are talking about the exact same thing. But here's the final twist. This cosmic code, this blueprint described by myth and physics alike, it's not just out there in the stars or on a map. The ancients were convinced the ultimate copy was written inside of us, and modern science might have just stumbled upon the very page it's written on. When we look at our own human genome, our DNA, we find that only about 1% of it actually codes for proteins, the stuff that makes us. The other 99%, for decades, science literally called it junk DNA. But what if it isn't junk? What if it's not junk at all? What if that 99% is the most sophisticated, most advanced information storage system we've ever encountered? An instruction manual, a complete backup of the cosmic code written by the mapmaker and stored safely inside every single cell of your body. And so in the end, you realize we've been asking the wrong question all along. The ultimate quest is not to figure out what the code is. We're living in it. We are it. The map isn't just on the world. The map is in us. The real question, the one that should keep us up at night, is when are we going to finally learn how to read it?